What's going on, Jerome? So had a day of R&R, but back on that grind as your Minnesota Vikings landed themselves a beautiful, gorgeous 2024 draft class. Now, some unorthodox picks, especially on day 3, but in terms of just getting dudes in the building, drafting BPA, and yes, how could Will Rockhurd be the best player available in the 6th round? He was. I mean, haven't the Vikings had some kicking issues for the last couple of years? So getting the numero uno rated kicker on the board feels kind of better versus, yes, the Vikings had other needs, but could you get similar value in the 7th round, which the Vikings did, addressing both trenches, or as UDFAs? But J.J. McCarthy, future franchise quarterback, Dallas, Chip Burner Turner on the edge. Going to bring some heat and some stand. Kyrie Jackson. So, yes, he is 47,000 years old. And, yes, he is a former meat slicer as well as a former professional video game player. Fully get it. But the length, you can't coach length, can't coach size, all that stuff. And, this is ultimately a Brian Flores call. There you go. Walter Rouse, I think, could turn into a little something to tackle. Also, Kwesi's talked about kicking him inside. We'll see. And then, Michael Juergens, PFF's number 4 graded guard in FBS last season, also has some center flexibility. Plus, Levi Drake Rodriguez, probably the best story of the draft. And all heart, all hustle. We'll see if he pans out. But I'm also super pumped about the UDFAs, man. And this may be a little bit of putting too many expectations on them, but after what happened with Ivan Pace Jr. Last year, as well as Najee Thompson, maybe Andre Carter II coming up, I mean, can we get some impact players from these UDFAs? Ty James is a bad dude. Gabe Murphy from UCLA can get after it. Same thing with Bo Richter. Dallas Gant, former Toledo as well as Ohio State guy. Dwight McLaughlin probably should have been like a late 4th, early 5th round pick. Let's go, man. Also, let's go is thank you everyone who donated. Draft month, we hit our fundraising goal. You guys are absolutely the best. And, still time, any donations the rest of the month will go towards Twin Cities Food Shelves, working with every meal. Donate directly in the links down below. If you do, shoot me an email that we can include that in the total. You guys are awesome. All right, so we do 2 food shelf fundraisers a year, one during the draft, one during Thanksgiving. Yeah, you guys just humble me and doing good while we're doing fun things. There you go. Also fun. Not gonna lie, this is a damn good look. And I was thinking about this. So yes, there's some concern that maybe J.J. McCarthy looks like a 10-year-old kid coming off his first communion. I mean, he looks like the GM's kid who got lost in the building during Easter, or some executive's kid. It's probably not Kwesi's kid, but the whole thing with JJ, best situation for a rookie quarterback in draft history. Also, he's not going to fail because he doesn't put in the work. And yes, there's a non-zero chance that he doesn't make it, right? But it'll be simply because he's not good enough. And that is what it is. But in terms of talent around him, coaching, him putting in that work, ain't going to be that. So removing as many variables as possible. You can't say that about every single quarterback that was drafted. All right, so you cannot say that about every single quarterback drafted high, that they're not going to fail because of their work ethic. All right, so we'll see. But I think he's looking good. And of course, with the small trade up with the Jets, trade up with the Jets, he is the highest drafted quarterback franchise history, the first and only quarterback taken in the top 10 in team history as well. And it's good. Now, when the Vikings traded up from 11 to 10, of course, the thinking was, hey, the Vikings probably boxing out the Broncos at 12, who stupid ass Sean Payton obviously wanted J.J. McCarthy. But, of course, stupid-ass Sean Payton living. So, I know that we'll get Broncos fans in here. Brandon Perna is our boy. But I know that they'll be like, oh, Sean Payton's living rent-free in your head. He literally talks about us at every single opportunity. You know why we live rent-free in his head? Douche. 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 Any opportunity to play the clip. Any. But stupid ass Sean Payton, SSSP. SASP. SASP. Says that he baited the Vikings into drafting JJ McCarthy. Baloney. This is what Payton said on Thursday, Friday. I was actively involved in trying to pretend we were moving forward up from pick 12. Payton told Denver reporters on Friday, the Vikings moved up to number 10, fearing other teams needing a quarterback, such as the Broncos. We're going to jump ahead of them. 6 quarterbacks were taken in the first 12 picks, including Caleb Williams, Jaden, blah, 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 blah. So I don't think that he understands that this is not the flex that he thinks it is. So first off, come here. So say that he did trick the Vikings into trading up. Why? Why does it matter? Because A, the Vikings don't play in his conference. B, the Jets do play in his conference. So C, if he indeed did fake out the Vikings to trade up, he enriched a team, ostensibly a team that could be competing for playoff places, but of course it's the Broncos and the Jets, so who knows, to give them extra draft capital. And the Jets had a hell of a draft, man. And if your guy was Bo Nix all along, what's the point? What's the point? It's so stupid. And also, I mean, the joke's on him. At the end of the day, he drafted Bo Nix. Like, he literally took Christian Ponder at the Christian Ponder pick at 12 because there was literally a run on quarterbacks at 8 and 10. This is just like 2011 all over again, man. But either way, doesn't matter because we got our freaking guy. That's all that matters, baby. That's right. And I know people say, well, he was quarterback 5. In most classes, he would be quarterback 1 or 2. And the whole thing about it was like, oh, the Vikings are trying to trade up to 3. Okay. Or is this just a way of the Patriots covering their ass and pumping their guy up? I was like, oh, the Vikings are going to trade 4 first-round picks for Drake May, but we kept him. Please. Also, the only reason why they drafted Joe Milton III is to make Drake May look more accurate in practice. Talk about practice, man. Don't even get me started on the Penix pick. I mean, it's just funny. It's just funny as hell, man. Also funny. So 33rd team. Well, so first off, 33rd team putting this together. J.J. McCarthy, Aaron Jones, Hockenson, Jefferson, Addison, and Brandon Powell. Now, Kevin O'Connell loves him some Brandon Powell. He really does. And I know that the Vikings, they didn't draft a receiver. They brought in some solid UDFAs, but probably not anyone who's going to be threatening wide receiver 3 anytime soon. I believe in Brandon Powell. And obviously Kevin O'Connell does too. And I think that he can grow and show in year 2 in purple. But overall, in terms of skill position guys, these 6, I don't know if you can find better in the league. I really don't. I know that everyone's going to say, oh, well, what about the Dolphins? What about them? So I'm feeling damn good here. But, of course, everyone's talking out both sides of the mouth. So the 33rd team graded every pick for the Vikings. So B- for McCarthy. Yeah, I get it. I mean, the Vikings, could they have gotten McCarthy at 11 if they just sticked and pick and didn't have to give up the future 3rd and 4th? Maybe. Sure, Dallas Turner's A-. Dallas Turner should be an A+. So I love that Kwesi got aggressive and didn't just sit back at 23. He went up and got his guy. Wait, no, that one was the future. Doesn't matter. So yeah, Dallas Turner, talisman on the edge. J.J. McCarthy, your future franchise quarterback, hopefully should be good to go. And then day 3, so B+ for Kyrie Jackson. I understand the drawbacks of Kyrie Jackson. We voiced our concerns, but he is now a Viking, so all in. He's going to turn into a true blue, amazing outside corner, physical, getting after it. Walter Rouse. So a C for Walter Rouse and Will Reichard. I mean, what were the Vikings supposed to do? I mean, is this a spot where it's like, well, the Vikings should have taken to your offensive line? Well, what if Rouse was ranked higher on the board? Maybe even significantly higher than the board than any one of the guards or centers. Then Will Reichard, like I said, they could have gone a different position, sure, but did you want the number 1 kicker in the draft, or did you want like this number 17 interior offensive lineman? Or a guy with similar value that you could have gotten in the 7th round, like Michael Juergens, or guys that you would have picked up as a UDFA. And also, Levi Drake Rodriguez, I'm rooting for him, man. Like, he is such an amazing story, and he's quickly going to become a fan favorite. Rudy. It's great, man. It's great. Also great. So, Walter Football, Sharp Football, Warren Sharp, nailed it, is very good at putting together composite things like this. So most valuable first 3 rounds of the 2024 draft based on draft capital over expectation. So basically things are way over my head in terms of smartness, right? But what's interesting, so this is the first 3 rounds. So day 1, day 2, the Vikings didn't have a day 2 pick. So the Vikings had their 2 first-rounders at 10 and 17. And looky, here comes Hookie, numero uno. No problem. And also, you look at, the Steelers nailed this draft. I love the Steelers draft with Fatanu, Zach Frazier, our guy. Come on, man. And also, the Lions are fluffed up a little bit because they did mortgage 2 mid-round picks for next year to get back into this year's draft. So it's eerily similar to the Vikings, but they land at 2. And of course, look who's dead last. So the stupid-ass Broncos, the Patriots, which is interesting since they just sticked and picked and took Drake May at 3. And then, of course, the Falcons. And I don't even think that the Penix pick was that bad. But, so like our guy Thor said, signing Kurt, it makes sense. Drafting Penix makes sense. You can't do both. Both at the same time do not make sense for the Falcons. And so yes, the 4-year deal is actually a 2-year deal. So after 2 years, when Penix is 26 and Penix is ready to play right now, that's going to be the plan. So you just signed a $100 million guaranteed bridge quarterback. Nah. Speaking of Kurt, so Kurt keeps catching strays all the time, man. But I will say, so when Kurt's agent put out that statement during the draft, it's like, oh, we were not informed until they were on the clock that they were drafting Penix. Number one, it makes Cousins and his agent look extremely thin-skinned and insecure. And number 2, it makes the Falcons look incompetent, which is probably all those things are true. But so Kurt, after the Vikings picked up Bo Richter, the super undersized, high motor, getting after it edge rusher from Air Force. So Richter wore number 8 for the Falcons, and well, ironically for the Air Force Falcons. And his agency just photoshopped him wearing 8. I kind of want him to take number 8 because it'll be up for grabs, and single digits are very coveted in the National Football League now. It's funny, man. Also, so when reading up on Dwight McGlothern and doing some draft prep on him last couple months, I just glanced at his high school and I thought it's like that kind of looks familiar, but then didn't think anything of it. But Vikings fan page pointing out new Vikings cornerback Dwight McGlothern shares a throwback photo with safety Lewis Cine. Me and Lou back together. Everything happens for a reason. So high school teammates back in the day. It's good to see, man. I will say this is going to be very mean spirited. Does McGlothern have a better chance of making the 53 than Lewis Cine? I don't know. But knocking on all the wood. I know that Lewis Cine's broken leg put him behind the 8 ball. He was not physically right last year. Hopefully he's going to be good to go. And even though the Vikings are probably the deepest safety team in the league, hopefully he can find himself a role and go from there. Also, so the thing that the NFL draft does, well, first off, they've really eased off of the tearjerker coverage. So for a couple years, the draft was like, oh, so this guy, this linebacker from Virginia Tech, his mother died, and then his sister got leprosy, and then his baby mother got into a car accident. It was just like, why? Why are we going through just torture porn for every single one of these picks? But respect. I mean, NFL Network, ESPN has eased off of that, but I mean, still get a little bit. But what they do great is that, so as these first round picks are drafted, they sit them in front of a video thing, and they've recorded messages from their friends, their families, their loved ones about how proud they are. And it's just brings a tear to your eye. And my favorite one is, of course, Dallas Turner. So Dallas Turner, Vikings edge rusher, number 17 overall, and just it's a fantastic day for the kid who got drafted, but also it's a great day for the family. Not because of the money. Maybe for some it's about the money, but just in terms of the culmination of all that hard work of taking the kids to practice, getting so many damn Gatorades and getting the kid onto 7-on-7 teams, making sure he's keeping his grades up, making sure he's doing everything right, getting his college scholarship, cheering him on at games, traveling around, watching him grow and show, and then eventually become a first-round NFL pick. And there's a lot more to be written in this book, a lot more chapters, but right now it's just an amazing plateau and only going up from there. But Dallas Turner had his loved ones, and it's very, very emotional. It's very, very fantastic, man. Lastly, so draft grades. does not get me emotional. All draft grades is, hey, how did these teams draft according to my big board? That's really all it is. Now, yes, you could say, well, on one hand, you could say, like, oh, you don't know draft grades until 3 years from now. Fair. But also, it's way more funny in retrospect because, like, Justin Jefferson getting like a C- when the Vikings took him back in the day, or Mahomes getting a C- or a D+. So for the Vikings, so this is a great composite put together by Renee in this spot. So the Vikings getting A's from the Pro Football Network staff, Chris Knox of Bleacher Report, Fox Sports staff, Vinny Iyer of Sporting News, Nate Davis, USA Today, Mark Maskey of the Washington Post. So all of them gave the Vikings A's or A-. They know ball. Congratulations. But the other side of the coin, so I got Doug Farrar of Touchdown Wire. Come on, Doug. I'll be your Doug. Danny Kelly, The Ringer. Matt Veremsen, something. Mel Kipa Jr., Charles McDonald of Yahoo, and also Thomas Sire gave the Vikings a C. Now, what's funny is that all right, so what this chart does is, gives each team grades, so a GPA, but also does a cumulative GPA of the grades that they give out. So they judge who's a tough grader, who's an easy grader, and there's no Fs. I feel like no one wants to just put an F on a class just because you just never know. But the worst grade that was given out was from Charles McDonald to the Falcons. Now, Charles is a Falcons fan. So that's what's really funny about it. So he definitely a harsh grader. Probably didn't like the Penix pick in conjunction with the Cousins signing. And also the Rook Aurora pick when Johnny Newton was on the board and you traded up. I don't know, man. I don't know. But in terms of composite GPA, the Vikings are hovering. Was it 16th? Yeah, about middle of the pack. And also you got the Steelers, you got the Bears and the Eagles up at top. Bottom, Falcons. Also bottom, Panthers, which is interesting. I didn't think that there was their class is too horrible, but who knows, man. But either way, your Vikings, I love what Kwesi did. I love what Kwesi did. You were super aggressive getting your guy in McCarthy, getting your guy in Dallas Turner. I think that they're going to hit on several day 3 selections, and also don't sleep on the UDFAs, which the Vikings have, well, last year as well as historically, been pretty damn good at. But anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. The Monday after the draft, you guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull production value.